Hello everyone, my name is Dave Partner and welcome to your next tutorial on CakePHP. In the past tutorial, we looked at creating this form with CakePHP and we created this sign up form, and in this tutorial we're going to clean it up to match what we have in our database. Remember, in our database we created users, and if you click on structures in your database, you see that the user has email, password and phone as the fillable types. And then these ones, CakePHP hides the created and the modified by default, and also hides the ID. So if we get back to our code where we have the form, the sign up form, remember in the past tutorial we created this, and may I let you know that this guy is the same thing as just saying PHP echo. So if you're more comfortable with this type of syntax, you can use it, and this is just a short form syntax for CakePHP templates. Alright, so this basically starts the form and tells it which model to hook up to in our database, and we've defined users in our controller, and at the end we end the form too. I just wanted to clean up this form. First of all, if we look at our sites here, we'll see that there are some elements we don't like. We don't want about, we don't want these two options. In fact, everything from this place should go, because in our database we just have email, phone and password. So if we get back to our code, we locate the radius and minimize it, then delete. Thank you. You need to go. Then the about, we need to take out the about, hit the delete button, and the sign up for the password. Okay, inside the password there's a checkbox that we need to remove. I am talking about this checkbox. This checkbox, we need to remove it, so we quickly get it out of the way. And the next thing we need to do is to properly add names to this. Remember, CakePHP does a lot of things automatically for you if you can just tell it name things the proper way. So remember that this is our form, and inside all these CSS, all these tags, we have the input field, which is a text, and that's the field that is the email. So we add this name equal to email, add it to your own, and in the password field add name equal to password. This word here must correspond exactly with what you have in your database. You must name it what you named the fields in your database for CakePHP to do its magic on your application. So we now have the email, the password field, so we need to create a phone field. Remember, the phone field is text too. If you're observant, you see that here that we're using HTML to determine what kind of field this is. It will not be necessary in the next stage, where we'll use CakePHP type of form controls. Alright, here we need to create a phone field, so we highlight, I basically duplicate this, you copy it and paste it again. So I'll copy and paste again. So if you are using CodeLobster PHP edition, if that's your editor like me, then if you highlight, you just press Ctrl D or Command D and it will duplicate the line. So where we have input email, so we're going to change this to phone, and we're going to just change this to phone, and right here we change it to phone, and we change this to phone. Very good, and we're good to go. Everything looks okay. So we get back to our code, we'll get back to our page, we'll refresh, Ctrl R or Command R if you're using Mac, and then there we have it. So let's register our first user. Remember, if you come to this place and click on browse, we will see that there is no user that is registered yet. We don't have any user record yet, so we'll create our first user. That's my email, my real email. Then I'm going to use a phone number. This is not my phone number, I'm just typing random stuff on the keyboard. And I'm going to use any random password. I'll just call the password to be password, and then I'll hit on the sign up, bang. And then you wait a little as CakePHP submits the form automatically, and there it is in your it's already in your database, and CakePHP retrieved this. Remember that if you observe, and CakePHP did the two things: it submitted the form, then it redirected us. So if we should get back to our controller code that handles the add form, if we get back to CakeAuth sign up, we hit on controllers, we hit on users, and we're going to look at the sign up code. Remember, we just duplicated what we had in the add code. We've not really written a code for sign up. We just created a function and just copied what we had in the add and pasted here. So let's run through this code. We have this, we're declaring these users and we're passing it here to the view. This set compact passes the variable to the view, and that's the variable we are calling right here, this form create user. Alright, and we're checking whether it's a post request. Remember, in some frameworks you have a different method for post request and another different one for get request. Here, if it's a post request, it submits the form, otherwise it retrieves the content of this user. Alright, then we have, since it's a post request, we do the same thing. Whatever we are getting through post, which is this guy, we patch it to the user. So whatever we're getting through post is in the request object here, so we pass it to the user, and then we save. This particular line saves it in the database. So we're basically saying if it's saved in the database, give a report, a flash saying, yeah, your user has been saved. That is, if the save was successful, that is it here. The user has been saved. Alright. Now, if then of course redirect, this particular line redirects to action index. So it basically redirects to the method on your controller called index, and when the redirection happens, whatever you have here will process itself. Alright. Now, of course, we now pass the remaining variables to the view. So it's a very simple thing. So we saved in the database at this point. So let's go to our database and confirm that there is a beautiful save there. So we go to our database and hit on browse again one more time. And what you will observe is that the record, oh, it logged us out, really? So what you will observe is that there is a record here. Say Dave Ozala, that's my name. And then there's a password. And CakePHP automatically filled these two fields for us. Remember that there was no point in time where we filled it out. So CakePHP filled it for us just because we named it correctly. We named it created and modified. Now it also filled the ID for us. Now what you will observe is that this password is not encrypted. It's just saving as plain text. Alright, so we have an issue, so which we'll resolve in the next video, where we'll actually start building the proper user authentication with CakePHP. But at least this sign up works. Now the next thing we'll have to look at is that sometimes you have a foreign key here that joins to another table. And for instance, if this user belongs to a category, in that case we have a category ID, and if you go to the category table, you have several categories, let's say 10 categories. You may not be able to use this kind of escape we used here. We used a shortcut right here. This is plain HTML to create this form. So this is not proper in CakePHP. You're supposed to use the form tags, CakePHP form helper, to create your forms, so that if there are any relationships, CakePHP will take them automatically. So if we had a category table that is supposed to join to the user table, CakePHP will automatically list all the categories for us. We don't need to write a for each loop or anything statement in the view. CakePHP will do that for us. So we need to go back and convert this code into the normal CakePHP form elements. So first of all, you open a PHP tag, you close it, or of course you can use this shorthand tags. Me, I prefer to use these ones. So we're going to echo this form helper, and then we type control, and then we open and close a bracket, then this. Then when we're back, we have to mention the name, whatever we have in the name of the form. So the name of this form is email, and then we're going to give a comma and then a block bracket. Then we start entering all the other options that we want to enter. So the first option we want to enter is the placeholder option. So I will say placeholder equal to, enter your email or whatever you want the placeholder to be, then comma. The next thing we need to enter is the ID. This is not necessary. This is in case you're writing some JavaScript that will use this as an ID or CSS, but we don't really need to. So the next thing we need to enter is the class, and the class has a value of this, so we enter the class attributes. So we say class and then we enter the value of the class. Then I'm just purposely leaving this out because we don't really need it. But then the other thing we don't really need is type. CakePHP automatically knows the type for this because it knows what you declared in your database. So whatever type you declared for email in your database is what CakePHP will intelligently display. So if your phone, for instance, is tinyint, for instance, if we had a field called status, and that status is tinyint, CakePHP will convert it to checkbox right here. So it's a very interesting thing. So we don't need to tell CakePHP the type of this, except we want to enforce a different type for it. If you want to enforce radio button instead of checkbox, for instance, you can now tell it what type it is. But say we want it to work default the way it is. So we'll click this and we'll click save. And then we do the same thing for the phone field. So we get back to the phone field, and there we have it. And the next thing we have is just change this to phone, and every other thing is the same for phone field. Enter your phone, every other thing. So we delete this guy. So we could do the same thing for the password field, and in which case we'll have to tell it that the type is password so that it will encrypt it. So we can say password, and we need to tell it that the type is password. So we say type equal to password, comma. Good, so that it will encrypt the password when we are typing it. Everything stays the same, so we delete it. And there we are. One thing else you need to know is that CakePHP automatically decides what the label is from this. You understand? So although we already have label here, CakePHP will try to automatically add its own label. So we can come here, get back to our form and refresh just to see what I'm talking about. So if we get back to new user, which slash sign up, it takes me back to the sign up page where we came from, and you will see that CakePHP added its own label, and there's the label we added with HTML here. So as you can see, CakePHP adds its own label to its form. What we can do is to make this label disappear in quotes. So if we come here, we can just determine what a label is. We can say label for password, we just keep it empty. That's a shortcut of using your own HTML instead. So if we keep the label for password empty and we get back to our form and we refresh, what we'll have is that it's now empty. Alright, so we can stick to this guy. Alright, otherwise we can just delete all these other guys here and use the CakePHP default label. So which is what I'll try to do. I will just delete all the extra labels we have. So I'm just giving you all the tiny little tricks you can use to clean up your form interface. So I'll just scroll up here and delete this guy, and now we are done. If you get back to our code and refresh, there we are. We have a very nice interface here, and what you've noticed is that CakePHP is putting this red dot beside each field, and what it means is that this is required. So the user sees this red dot, automatically they know that they must have to fill this field, which means if we don't fill this field and hit submit, CakePHP automatically puts required for us, because when we were creating this database, it was not null. If we go to the structure, we see that it's actually not null. Is it null? No, it's not null. So CakePHP knows automatically that these fields are not null, so it can't allow a user to submit the form without filling it, as you can see. So if I put something in the email, guess what? It's telling me that I have to put a proper email. So CakePHP is really smart and handling this. It knows that this is an email field, but if you check out at this point, you will see that we never specified that this is an email field. There's no place in the code where we specified it. So CakePHP is smart to know that this is an email field. So let us create a new user. We can say the new user is, I'm not going to use my former email. I'm going to say yes, it's Dave23, and my phone number is a random string of characters, and my password is still password. I'm creating a new account and we'll hit on sign up. Guess what? We have our second user. So as you can see, we have a second user, and Chrome is prompting me to save the password, which I don't want to do. We have a second user here, and in the next tutorial we'll clean up this user interface, and we'll also complete our user registration and authentication system in the next tutorial. So thank you very much for paying attention to this tutorial. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, which is the best you can do at this moment. Go to my YouTube channel, like and subscribe, and also share this course to your social media handles so that other students can join in. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.